John, thanks a lot. And he was talking about having diversity and having a young faculty member, Paul Ballman. I thought he kind of gracefully said department head rather than an old gray-haired moss pack like me. But folks, it's really good to be here. I want to thank the program committee. I want to thank the Graduate Student Organization for asking me to be a part of this, because department heads like those rare times when they can get out of the office, and it's really good to be here for that. It's almost as good as being in the field for a day, but not quite. But I am happy to be here. I do appreciate following Scott. Scott, you did a great job in a number of the things that I'm going to say. I think are going to tie in very well with your presentation. I want to start out with a few comments, a few editorial comments on departmental structures, because regardless of where you go in academia, you're going to be a part of a department. And looking at departmental structure now versus back in the early 80s when I was finishing up my PhD and getting ready to go to work, there's three things that I think they're true in most cases. Most academic departments are now more complex. Most of them are larger. And certainly most of them are more diverse. Usually this is the case. And a lot of times this is a product of a reorganization. Some of you know that various departments have gone through reorganizations in the last 20 years. Some are going to continue to go through these. But why do administrators think it's a good thing to take a particular unit and change it? Well, there's a variety of reasons. They'll tell you that they want to do this to redirect and focus in an area. Let's say we've got an academic department that's not performing at the level that they may think it should, so they're going to put the right people together and we're going to focus, and that might be it. They'll tell you it's to optimize collaborations. We don't have the right people together. We need to get to foster collaborations. We need to put them more in the same unit. Well, that might be it. Reduced administrative costs and streamlining, you bet. Usually that's the reason that departments are reorganized. Why am I spending time on this? Because it's going to affect you. You're going to be working initially with a broader range of co-workers than some of us that have been in the business for a while did when we started. Just a little example right here at UT, and a couple of you I know in this room were here, when we went through the reorganization in 2001. We had a Department of Plant and Soil Science, which basically was an agronomy department. One of our sister departments was ornamental horticulture and landscape design, and we were merged. Tom Mueller, I think that was kind of a kind word to put on it. It was more like a shotgun wedding. But anyway, we joined up with the ornamental horticulture and landscape design folks. Our colleagues in soils basically were moved across the street and put with the ag engineers to be members of the biosystems engineering and soil science department. And that left us right here as plant sciences. And I've got a question mark out here. I haven't heard anything on my email today that we've been reorganized since I've been here the last 24 hours, but who knows. So anyway, things change, times change. Scott mentioned be flexible. You bet. Our department is like a lot of departments. We have invested, for our standards, heavily in ramping up our efforts in biotechnology and plant molecular genetics. So we have, in our hires over the last few years, been allocating a number of faculty lines to that area, which we haven't obviously before. Fortunately, with our administrators, we've been able, though, to maintain some of the things that got us where we are. We're able to still kind of, as we say in East Tennessee, run what we grew. Our administrators have allowed us to continue to put funds into applied research, continue to prioritize extension faculty who are out working with agents and consultants and agribusiness. So we have not gone completely molecular, but we have certainly shifted in that direction. We have some things in our department that are not really hard science, they're more art. Our landscape design program, very good example of this. This, by the way, is our largest undergraduate concentration. And some of their needs, some of their philosophies are very, very different from what an agronomist would think of, or certainly what a plant molecular geneticist would be. Turf and public gardens, public horticulture are two growth areas for our department. So I just want to kind of use us as an example. Very, very diverse. Expect more of this in academic units in the future. We've been in a pretty good position in the University of Tennessee since 2002. This is when I became a department head, and I cannot take credit for this, but we have been in a particular time where administrators have allowed us to move forward to hire 12 faculty over that not quite 5-year time. So that we've been busy hiring a lot of people. And 2 of these are weed scientists. And I'd like to spend the rest of the time on the topic of so you want to be a weed scientist. And I want to go at it from 2 angles. First of all, what we look for in a candidate, what we look for in someone that we want to commit hopefully 30 years to and help them flourish. But also a little bit on what you should look for in the process. And most of my comments are going to pertain to the interview process. Okay, what do we look for? Quite simply, about 5 fundamental things. First of all, just raw talent, horsepower. We look for a candidate that has the gray matter demonstrated through their record in school so far, their record in a postdoc, or of their current job. Just raw talent. Can they do the job? And can they take that talent and couple it with creativity to really excel? Creativity has always been important. I would submit in these days and times of administrators that like money, Scott, that pitching those research ideas to NSF, NRI, to various funding agencies, yes, creativity is going to be a premium there in that effort. Work ethic pretty much goes without saying. We look for somebody that's going to throw the shoulder into the position and work hard. So again, we will be talking to your references, talking to people back at your home institution to find that out. Cooperation, suffice it to say, if you think about it, when you're in school now, if you think about it, when you're a faculty member, you spend a lot more waking hours with your coworkers generally than you do with your family. Now that's not a great commentary on these days and times, but it's a fact. If we spend that much time together, we might as well get along. So we're going to be looking for evidence of someone during that interview process. Will they be cooperative? Will they be collegial? That's a big thing. And then, of course, communication skills. We want somebody that can look you in the eye, that can communicate very effectively, not only in terms of writing, but also in terms of speaking. So those are 5 fundamental things that we look at. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on your resume or CV, but I do want to kind of drive home some points on some of these. Of course, this whole talk reflects my personal biases, but some things to think about. Your resume or CV in so many ways is your first foot in the door. As Dr. Sensman said, put your best foot forward. So you need to put a lot of effort into this and make your resume look good. Don't wind up in file 13 before you even get started because of poor preparation on that resume. Now granted, networking among major professors and those professors seeing you present at various meetings, again, does come into play, but you got to do good on the resume. Build your resume, but don't pad it. My personal preference in terms of referee publications is those that are in print, accepted, and submitted only. So one puts one in that says in preparation, that means nothing to me. That could mean anything from, well, I'm kind of thinking about writing that data up, I've got the final draft almost done. Co-authorship on grant proposals, this didn't happen when I went to school. Some of you have an opportunity to do that. Remember, money, very important. Abstracts, contests won, field day presentations. Also, if you had given presentations in class, put those in there. The communications prior to the interview, obviously always be professional. Act interested. This is not a time to be coy. Wait until about 10 to 12 years from now when you're wildly successful and you're applying for a chair of excellence position. That's when you can be coy. But starting out, act interested, certainly. Return calls and emails promptly. Don't call us, we'll call you. What I mean by that is don't, and Scott said things go slowly, don't send your resume in and then start calling that department head or committee chair about a week later. That generally will turn people off. Know ahead of time what the interview involves. Surprises generally not good. The schedule, lengthy, subject of seminars, interviewers and their backgrounds. Do your homework on that. Know the faculty, know their programs. One good place to start if that academic unit of that college has a good website. You can learn a lot from that. So know the people that you're going into. You might read it up, you might decide you want to stay home. But anyway, be prepared. May sound old, may sound old-fashioned, appearance does matter. You know, we hear more about casual Friday. I think at our place we've gone to casual Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but certainly look good for that interview, appropriate dress. Yeah, get a haircut, the old George Thorogood song, get a haircut, get a real job. I'm dating myself. Shine your shoes. Again, just very fundamental things that can differentiate you from those other candidates. Whether you're male or female, a nice suit or business suit. If you don't own one, buy one. If you say you can't afford it, borrow the money. It might just be your best investment in the near term to give you a job. The things that go without saying, grammar, diction, eye contact, again, act interested. Certain questions are going to be there, the boilerplate questions, you know, what interested you in weed science? What's your vision for the program? Your 5-year goals, 10-year goals? At least one of those members of the committee or administrator is going to ask you that. Don't bumble around on those answers. You need to have those in your mind before you go. Look at infrastructure. One of the reasons we've been having such a good time hiring faculty is we just, about 4 years ago, occupied a 3-acre plant biotechnology and plant sciences building, brand new labs and brand new offices. But take a look at land resources to support your research program. The laboratories, are they adequate to help you get started? Greenhouses, well, that's a sore subject at our place, but hopefully that's going to improve. Grow chambers, classrooms, all of that. Technical support. There are fewer hard-funded research associates than there were in the good old days. They expect you to get the money, so maybe you can get in that offer, an offer of assistance for a couple, 3 years till you get on the grant bandwagon. Is the graduate program robust? The number of students, the number of assistantships. What are the assistantships in terms of salary and benefits? And are you going to get one right out of the block? Find out. Chemistry, can't say enough about this. The weed science faculty, the departmental faculty, students, staff. Talk to some of the recent graduates. And also, if you have an opportunity, you can learn a lot by talking to some staff members while you're there about that chemistry. Startup funds, Dr. Simpson mentioned this. How much? What are they going to allow you to spend it on? Usually, and the philosophy of most administrators, startup funds are to buy stuff. They're usually not to hire people. Have that clear. And usually, since it's hard money from salary savings, you got to spend it by a certain time. So you may want to negotiate to have it split over 2 fiscal years, depending on when you're hired. Tenure promotion, very quickly. When will you be reviewed? What are going to be the expectations and are they reasonable? Know that before you sign on the dotted line. Be careful negotiating for an early tenure review date. Our standard now is 7 years. We put a faculty member up in the penultimate year, the 6th year. Everybody has good intentions, but let's say you negotiate for an early time. You get there, you stump your toe, you have a test that gets annihilated, equipment breaks down, you can be in a box before too long. So get there, excel, go up early if it's appropriate. Compensation package, benefits, insurance, annual leave and retirement, savings opportunities, moving expenses, salary, all those. Unsolicited advice, avoid starting low. I can tell you, being a department head, if there's somebody in the department that is hired in low, it's almost impossible to catch them up. It's very difficult to do that. Unsolicited advice, if you can negotiate for a higher salary instead of moving expenses, if you can afford it, do it, because that's money that your raises are going to be built on in the future. Start your 401k immediately. After the interview, take notes, be patient. My personal opinion, a thank you letter or email right after the interview is appropriate. A phone call is not, because you may put somebody on the spot that's really not ready to talk to you. And don't call unless you get another offer. Or if you haven't heard something by time, don't hesitate to call, but don't start calling immediately. You'll get a call before the letter of offer. On the letter, understand it completely. If you don't understand something, call and get all promises right. Hey, what I tell candidates, enjoy the experience. Relax, but remember you must be on that entire 2 to 3 days. Have fun, interact, but don't try to be Jay Leno. And look at this as an opportunity to learn. Some blatant advertising very quickly. We have a number of researches underway, one of which is a horticultural weed scientist. I see Dr. Mueller standing up there with some of the position announcements. There's some on the table outside. This position is located in Knoxville. The areas are weed signs and ornamentals, fruits, vegetables, and consumer turf, and invasive species. Due to budgetary reasons, this will be available July 1, but we are already actively in the recruiting process. We're accepting applications. We'd love to talk to you about this position. Somebody told me there was a Super Bowl the other day. I'm still trying to get caught up on that, but I'll leave you with this. And I appreciate your attention. If we have any time, I'll be glad to try to address the question.
Let's thank our speaker and move on.